Hello, inspiring designers. My name is MindofV, and welcome to the first episode in the multi-series of Becoming a Designer. Today's episode is titled Knowing the Difference and is the core foundation of learning where to start. Let's get right into it. Okay, so today's episode, we're going to talk about the classifications of designers. And in my opinion, there are four major classifications of designers and two minor categories. Let's start off with the four major classifications first. The first one we're going to talk about is branding. Branding is probably the biggest notable design role people choose to go with just because of how much is involved into it. Branding revolves around making a uniform logo for a company. You see these in such companies as Starbucks, where you have a nice coffee, or even a nice Subway logo that's right on a nice meaty sandwiches wrapper. You see these everywhere, and they're essential to a business. Every company needs a logo, and it's the duty of a branding designer to take part in this duty. The next role we're going to talk about is marketing and advertisements. Every company needs this to grow their business, and they're going to need a new one almost every time they plan to run ads. Unlike branding, it requires the branding asset to be made in order to create the advertisement to reflect the branding and create a catchy message. You can also use marketing to create new product designs and show a company what their product may look like if they were to sell it. It's incredible that we can do this nowadays, and especially in a year like 2020, where things have inevitably been larger and allow us to show off new products. The third major role is UI/UX interfaces. UI stands for user interface and UX stands for user experience. The main goal of the UI part of this role is to create a beautiful interface to keep users attracted to the site or app. The best notable UIs are platforms like Spotify, Instagram, and Discord. However, you also want a better user experience in those. Strong UX sites is making a person understand how to access their platform and making it feel good to continue using them. You want you customers to stay on the app, so therefore you need to have a good branding and good UX in this case. The best UX sites are Google, Spotify, and Duolingo. You'd be surprised by Duolingo, but it's actually very easy for a newcomer to use, especially a newcomer that doesn't maybe understand a language like, English yet, or any of the other languages that are on the platform as well. The next major role is motion design. This falls under a different classification as it does not require you to use design programs like Illustrator and Photoshop. However, it is the design of motion through an intro, motion of a logo, or even a quick video message. These designers work based on programs such as After Effects and Premiere. It's very crucial to certain companies what they want when they want this. A lot of companies use these. You'll see like McDonald's, where their M turns into a full M. It turns from a little tiny square into an M, and it pops out at the end of the videos. You can also see these in their companies with like Nike, the swoosh maybe comes in. It all depends on what they're deciding to go with. These are very crucial, and even sometimes you can do advertisements and video editing, but again, this is just design, so we're going to talk about design. Now we're on to the minor roles. These are roles that aren't just minor, but they have different styles. They can be played into a major role though. These roles are just as talented as major roles, however have different and unique styles that may make them assets into projects. These minor roles are considered minor because while they are unique and creative, there is different sets of stuff you can do with them, and they're not set into a big classification. These are more like styles. The first role is illustration though. Illustrators are often the drawing of style of people or people who do line work. So if you ever were a student in class sitting there drawing on your piece of paper, this may be the best spot for you. If you're an illustrator and you love to draw on hand, you can very easily get used to drawing on a tablet and create some amazing illustrations. Again, these minor roles can be used in any major role, and depending on the style of company or project, they may have a more freestyle or kind of look that makes them stand out compared to the rest. The last minor role I consider is environmental, which isn't ideally for the major roles, but involves designing surrounding areas like an office building or creating murals. Brands may want to make their public space a place for open guests. You may see references of this through like companies like Google, Facebook, 100 Thieves, and even chains that inspire people to come together. Subway, you go into a subway and every subway looks the same. Well, it's because a designer designed the subway and gave a mock-up to the company, and the company went through and built all the subways. They are forced to build subways that way. Now that we know the different roles, we can easily obtain a sense of what ideal position we want, and that may take, we may take that and play it however we want. However, you can always dip into multiple roles. Personally, I'm a brand designer who does a little bit of illustration, a little bit of environmental, a little bit of mock-up. It's a little bit of everything in this world, and you can choose what you want to do as a designer. In the next episode, we'll talk about differences between vectors and rasters, and how to create these vectors and rasters. It's very important that you guys walk through every step of this series, as we'll learn more and understand an understanding of how to become a designer. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I appreciate you guys very much. Hit the bell, like, subscribe, do whatever you want, and keep watching.